What's up, guys? ToadRules here and LuigiXRules playing.
Nah, nice try. That's not gonna be the intro.
Wait, that's not my channel.
Hello, Luiginoids. This is LuigiXRules
And I hate you.
playing. Okay, well now I have to keep the intro in. Playing Pikmin 3 Deluxe. In the last episode, we finished Olamar's comeback. Did another part found and the ship restored. In this episode, we are going to be redoing first part found to try to get a platinum on this. So basically what we have to do is, this is going to be in the distant tundra. We have to take, there's creatures in the way and safely make it through with the parts. I don't know why it says parts if there's only one part. This thing, I guess that could be the engine. Okay, so what we need to do is I'm going to go up and get the blue Pikmin immediately. You can stay behind and get the yellow Pikmin.
Where are they?
They're up the geyser.
Dumb.
So obviously we've done this mission before, we just have to strategize more.
Alright, what do you...
There should be mushrooms by the base that you can...
Yeah, I see the mushrooms.
You can charge the yellow Pikmin at. Getting a lot of blue Pikmin, dude. Alright.
Hello. Don't mind me just destroying some mushrooms.
I hope none died. Ah, I had a Pikmin. Ooh, it was far less effective than I thought it would be. After this, I'm going to take all of the blue Pikmin.
I'm gonna take all the yellow Pikmin.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you clearly have more to... do than me.
Alright, can you dismiss your blue Pikmin?
Oh, you dismiss your... What? Oh, what?
There. There's the
You
yellow
have...
Pikmin.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm gonna go out this way.
Charge!
We're gonna have to be careful of that guy behind there, though.
Alright.
Yeah.
I don't think he's nearly as hard as you say he is,
I do.
personally.
I think he's that hard.
Well, yeah,
You're
of course
fiery
you think
blowhawk,
he's
okay.
as hard as you say he is. Why would you say that he's that hard if you don't think it?
Alright, so...
Cough
I don't really know what
users.
the point of going this way is, but I guess we could go that way. You'll see real quick. I guess you do. That's a good strategy for taking care of it.
Ah, why am I... My cursor was like way further away than...
Oh hey, there's some red Pikmin over there. What's over here? Oh, okay. Now I just gotta hope there's no enemies along the path. Doesn't really appear like there are. Okay, cool. Bottle cap. So old. It used to be a luxury item. Nope, guys. Got another guy to take care of. Alright, I'm building the bridge. Remember that you need to collect some red bridge pieces on your side.
Oh, like those?
Yes.
Alright, what's in the way?
Yeah, check for that. It doesn't look like anything's in the way, actually.
Alright.
Very good to take care of the other one.
Man, you really do have more work than I do.
I don't know if you can really destroy those things like that. It takes a ton of hits.
Yeah, well, you can.
I can't believe that you actually can. That's actually crazy.
Okay, 16 or 17?
That's assuming all of your hits landed. Alright, I'm getting my side of the bridge built.
Me too.
Yeah, that might be all of them on your
Pretty
side.
sure there's two different piles, aren't there?
Yeah,
For you?
there were two different piles on
Aren't
my
for
side.
me.
I'm not sure if there's two different piles on your side.
Well, that...
No, there aren't. Okay, so which way are they gonna go? Well, if they were smart, they'd go here and then down there and then Through there.
Alright,
Okay. We need yellow Pikmin.
Oh! Duh, I broke an egg and it had nectar in it.
We need yellow Pikmin.
Alright, hold on.
Or I might be able to do it with red.
Hold on, I wanted to do something first.
Alright, this is gonna be risky, but I'm gonna try taking care of one of these guys with red Pikmin, because they are only electric when they are electric. Nice, I took care of it. Alright, now there's some hermit chromads.
You want me to take the part back?
Yes, that would be
Alright.
useful.
Multitasking. Right. I flowered all my Pikmin, by the way.
Cool. I also need some yellow Pikmin.
What?
But they'll come with the ship part. Alright.
I don't know what was...
Here. Charge. Really, none of you are gonna take care of that. Okay. Now, I don't know how many enemies are gonna be in the way, actually. Oh. Need to monitor it very closely. See what exact path it takes. Alright, you know, I'm actually not. Your Pikmin are all nectared. So, will they go through this dirt wall that I destroyed? No, they're not. Oh gosh.
Are they?
They're going this way.
Don't worry, I was... Wait, I only have 13? What happened to the other 7?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I put 20 Pikmin on the part and I tried to whistle them, but then I only had...
I probably got some of them. Oh, that was my controller bugging out. Alright, get some more Pikmin on the...
It's always your controller bugging out. Anyway, now I need to get some of your Pikmin.
Here. I'll dismiss my blue Pikmin here. You can take them. Interestingly, we are trying this new strategy of not,
Winning? Because I don't think that's
not
a new
growing
strategy.
not growing any new Pikmin. The first time you charge it, only the minimum required will charge it on it. I actually quite like that. Hopefully
Yeah.
I can get this thing destroyed before they come through and try to find another way. Oh no, they think this is the only way they can go. Okay. Wow, I think we're actually going to get Platinum this time, because Platinum's fairly generous. Now that we actually know what we're supposed to do. The only problem is I'm not sure if we really have that many yellow Pikmin for this.
Okay, so you defeated both from Chromads.
Yeah. So now it's just a waiting game.
Whee!
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the engine. Doesn't really look like the engine to me.
It looks similar to the engine, but not exactly like the engine.
I don't know, it doesn't look like the engine.
Admittedly, if you're looking at it, it doesn't look as much like the engine as I thought it did. Where am I? Oh.
Alright. Cool! Thank you, controller! Yeah, my B button's getting kinda pushy or touchy or whatever.
Sometimes I push the B button, like, just do a light press, and then it says that I held it the entire time.
Yeah. Nice,
Yes,
new
it's-
record. We did it. We got the platinum. Cool. So now let's see if how many of the creatures in the Piklopedia, because last I checked there were some surprising omissions. And also, that means we have now obtained platinum for all of them. What do we get? Nothing, but at least we got platinum for all of them.
You're a nothing but. Rude gift for calling me a nothing but.
Also, I guess this is going to be a new screen for you guys. This is the re-entering a file thing. Takes up this.
We beat the game in less days than you.
So I'm gonna start from here just so I can check the Piklopedia. Although there was some odd stuff I noticed last time. Why does it say there's only 40 out of 55 creatures analyzed? Also, yeah, we have Olimar's thing now, but
Maybe there's some challenge mode exclusive creatures, I don't know.
I don't understand this at all. Like, what is all this necessary for a creature to be analyzed? I might look that up real quick. Okay, so for some reason, I never thought of just bringing the enemies back to the base, even though I'm pretty sure that's how it worked in Pikmin 2. So what you're seeing now is me going through and collecting every enemy that I didn't collect during the story. And it only updates with the story enemies. Most of them you do have to bring back to the base, there are a few exceptions. And also this was done on a separate file that I did on expert mode. And as you can see, it's not as well edited as the data files video, but and these enemies weren't exclusive. Most of them aren't exclusive to where you see them. You can find them, except maybe the red spectralid, but and you do have to end the day for it to count. Also, ToadRules won't appear for the rest of the video because he doesn't have to be here to see this. Well, I guess I'll just leave you to it then. See ya when we go through the entries. Okay, so here's the deal. We have all of the entries now. Should have gone over all of this stuff. What I was waiting for was I was waiting for us to be done with the side stories, I believe. Because I was wondering if the final boss of that would be a Piklopedia entry, but it does not look like it is. So instead, and that's also why I was saving Luis and Olimar's logs, which we have not gone over. Oh wait, oops, that was the wrong button. Louis and Olimar also have different things. Louis goes over how to eat them, and Olimar goes over, like, the different species things about them. And we're doing all 55, including the 15 that we haven't done Alf, Brittany, or Charlie on. This is gonna take a while. For a female shear grub. For an unforgettable quiche, slice this creature up and mix with 4 eggs, 2 vine-ripened tomatoes, diced zucchini, and generous handfuls of feta and Swiss. Bacon until crusty and golden. This beast is most flavorful if caught and cooked just after laying its eggs. Ah, boy. Sheer grub, female. Hemiadia mandibulosa, female. Mandiblod family. The males of this species are purple and black creatures with tapered mouths, while the females are lighter in color and lack an arm and exoskeleton. As with most mandibuloids, these creatures have regressed to the point where they have lost both legs and wings. They can be seen crawling around on the ground and are believed to feed on the vegetable extracts from the congealed fluids of expired Pikmin. That is absolutely disgusting. Dwarf bulboid. For a blissful bisque. Mince the entire beast finely and stir in with heavy cream, artichoke hearts, and a pinch of black pepper. Heat slowly until piping hot. Mmm, delicious and creamy. Dwarf bulbul. Pansaris pseudooculi russus. Breadbug family. Although initially identified as a juvenile bulborb, groundbreaking new research indicates that this creature is in fact a member of the breadbug family. A close relative of the vanilla breadbug, it escapes predation through mimicry. Unique adaptation of the bulborb's crimson coloration allows the species to safely commingle. Such effective adaptation and obfuscation by a prey species is rare, indicating this clever creature is a master of mimicry. So, one thing that I have never tested, but I believe is true, is that um, all of the ones that were in Pikmin 1, I believe Louis and Olimar's are just copied over from Pikmin 2 into this game. But of course, There's some new enemies to this game. Like, there were Spectralids, but I don't think there's any difference between them. White Spectralids. Re remove the wings and drop straight into the deep fryer. Cook until golden or until the enticing aroma starts to sting your eyes. Serve immediately. White Spectralids. Fenestari alba prismatus. Water bee family. It's remarkably similar to its unmarked brethren, but the telltale wing patterns and lone pair of hind legs give it away. It sticks to its own habitat for the most part, though it may fly away to reach a flower or escape a bullblacks. It will soon return to its home. The white variety gathers no nectar, but sometimes may be found carrying a pellet. Oh, I did not know that. Bulborb. Plum specimens are best spit roasted whole, stuffed with the lime and the slab of bacon, basted frequently to ensure a magnificently moist haunch. Bulborb, Oculus Kageyami russus, grub dog family. This large organism has the familiar mandibles and cranial morphology of the grub dog family, as well as the characteristic bulging eyes. As with most grub dogs, the creature's cranium comprises half its total length and girth. Showing a scarlet abdomen with white spots, this creature is primarily nocturnal, choosing to prey upon smaller creatures returning to their nests. Originally classified as the spotty bulborb, further research has classified the species as the basic bulborb. Subspecies of varied colors have recently been discovered, but academics are divided into two rival camps over how to handle their classification. I'm pretty sure those last lines were new. There was a line, I think, about it being renamed because it's called the red bulborb in Pikmin 2, but it was called the spotty bulborb in Pikmin 1. But then they just call it the bulborb for simplicity's sakes. Medusal Slurker. Mixed for a tangy and fresh sorbet. Placed in the freezer for 2 hours or until firm. Garnish with a slice of candied lemon before serving. Medusal Slurker. Staromedose manifoldi. Umbloda family. Most of its body is translucent and gelatinous. It drifts on the wind using the puff stalk on its head and catches passerby below with its adhesive manubrium. The purpose of this behavior is unknown, as examining its catches reveals no trace of saliva or gastric fluid on them. Unlike most aquatic jellyfish, it has no tentacles or nematocytes, something like that, making it safe to handle. It may even be safe to ride in, opening up exciting new transportation possibilities, if you could tame it, of course. Fiery Blowhog. Roast this flavorful beast for several hours, letting it stew in its own succulent juices. Don't worry about overcooking this beast. It's scorch-proof. Fiery Blowhog. Sus Draconis. Just like I said in Hey Pikmin, this guy seems pretty sus. Blowhog family. This creature expels a volatile phosphorus compound from its snout that combusts upon contact with air. This fire-breathing ability is dependent upon the air-to-fuel ratio at its mouth, catalyst reaction with the expelled compound, and purification of the compound. This is highly unlikely such a complex process could cause the spontaneous explosion of a fallen blowhog. This process also perhaps to avoid the risk of spontaneous combustion in the belly of a live specimen. However, one should still treat a fiery blowhog with great care during transfer. I'm surprised they don't capitalize the name in the log. Armor and Modad. Best enjoyed fresh. If the legs aren't twitching when you put it on the grill, don't bother. Oh, that's interesting. Armored Modad. Tuberclipium rex. Modad family. It makes its home inside the hollow stumps of enormous trees. The name is derived from the hard shell covering its entire body. As it grows, it can only molt its shell by slamming into rock wall to shatter it, forming a new one. It has a voracious appetite and doesn't hesitate to eat anything it sees. The contents of its stomach are often a surprise. Yikes. Joustmite. To create an elegant canapé with explosive flavors, remove shell and sear meat on both sides. Top with a dab of pesto. Joustmite. Trilobidens reversa. Burrownit family. Oh, just like, I think, an enemy from Pikmin 2. Others with this family wear their shells on their bellies, but this one's shell functions more like a helmet. Its wings have atrophied into uselessness, so it instead burrows beneath the ground and pops out only to pierce prey with its needle-like proboscis and drain their bodily fluids. Larval joust mites remain underground for years, or even decades in some cases. Ugh. Pyroclasmic slooch. Remove tongue and discard the rest. Cook over to a charcoal grill until medium rare. Oh, just eat pyroclasmic slooch tongue, apparently. Pyroclasmic slooch. Sulucina vulcanus, slooch family, a species of terrestrial snail coated in flammable mucus instead of the traditional shell. The creature stays lubricated through constant secretion of mucus so that the fires never reach its skin. The most fascinating aspect of these creatures is their instinctive ability to avoid causing widespread fires by carelessly brushing plants. That is probably pretty impressive. Oh gosh, I'm still on the first row. Ugh. Alright. Fosbat. Perfect ingredient for hot pot night. Add to the broth while no one's looking for the best results. Is that their faces? Fosbat. Tectupervus Teramis, Aerodentia family. This infant stage of the behemoth Fosbat has developed wings and cannot yet fly. It is Ceophilus from birth to the point where even the low light of a common glow cap or a light bulb will cause it to vaporize. The the chroma the chromatophore excretions that the adult Fosbat use for camouflage are overwhelming to its fragile infant form and can cause apoptosis in excessive amounts. My own map does not trigger this reaction, possibly because its light is the wrong wavelength. Maybe. Bearded Amprat. Pan roast the thighs with sprigs of rosemary and whole garlic cloves. Finish with a squeeze of fruit juice to highlight the subtle notes of lingering electricity. Bearded Amprat. Porcellus barbavolta. Numbaus family. The hair covering its face works as a capacitor. It charges electricity by rubbing the hair to build its static, then discharges it at enemies intruding on its territory. It's more territorial than aggressive, attacking only when threatened than to hunt prey. It has several qualities unique to this ecosystem, such as breastfeeding its young, which may someday give rise to a whole new taxonomy of fauna here. It's a mammal, I think. Behemoth Fosbat. Lightly bread and fry whole. So either a brioche bun with remoulade, or whatever language that is, then top with fried beast and a handful of arugula. Serve with a lemon wedge. Behemoth Fosbat. Tectupervis terromus, Aerodentia family. It is forced to live in darkness due to its extreme photosensitivity. The specialized chromatophores on its skin can absorb faint light sources to turn completely transparent. Its wings and spines are covered in mildly toxic scales that paralyze small insects until it can inhale them with a powerful vortex. Often, creatures that evolve in darkness have atrophied eyes and albinism, but it is notably not the case here. It does, however, share a tendency to only venture out at night with other cave dwellers. Still can survive, but not much else. Whipped tongue bulborb. Pat the tongue dry, then coat all sides with a spicy dry rub of your choice. Grill over high heat until the outside is perfectly crisp. Whipped tongue bulborb. Oculus longilingia. Grubdog family. Instead of the gnashing jaws usually found in related species, it uses its extensible, vicious tongue to capture prey. Even before it opens its mouth, it's recognizable by its tapered snout and black spots against its white back. Some theorize that it evolved its long tongue to snatch prey drawn to high blooming flowers, but others point out that no infant specimens have ever been seen, suggesting a radically different biological branch. It has only recently been reclassified as part of the grubdog family. Okay, but the other dwarf versions are like other species though, so huh. Also, if you didn't know, I like to call this guy Mr. Tape Your Friend. Sorry, I had to check something. So, sand belching meerslug. These are crowd pleasers. Soak overnight to remove remaining sand. Slice cleaned meat into thick pieces and place on grill. Then apply a generous coating of barbecue sauce and cook until sticky and crisp. Sand belching meerslug. Gastropode anguiri. Meerslug family. This giant limbless invertebrate has a distinctive large orifice. It sets a cone-shaped trap in a sandy layer and waits for prey to fall into it. The main orifice serves as both a mouth and anus. When it inhales sand, okay, that's disgusting. When it inhales sand, the grains go through its intestinal canal and comes out polished and hardened when they are ejected. It's sensitive to sound and vibration. The best time to catch it off guard is when it jumps out from the sand after being startled. True. Swarming sheer grub, boil and swallow whole. The real astronomic joy of this creature is how smooth it goes down. Swarming sheer grub, Hemiagia turba, mandiblod family. In contrast to the more common variety of mandiblods, it spends its entire life above ground without ever going below the surface. It hunts for food in packs, preferring to feed on nectar and fruit juice since its jaws are too weak to catch a prey. It grows quickly after feeding, but has difficulty moving at its larger size. Like most things. Dwarf orange bulborb, although difficult to prepare, this exquisite creature is more than worth the effort. Great in fajitas. Huh. Dwarf orange bulborb, Pansaris pseudocolony orangium, redbug family. Just as dwarf red bulborbs mimic the appearance of normal bulborbs, it was theorized that an orange bulborb mimicking variant must also exist. Recent fieldwork has confirmed that theory. It is kind of weird sometimes that, like, this is the third time, but obviously they've seen this before because these, I'm fairly certain that these are, copy and pasted from Pikmin 2. I hope they remake Pikmin 1 and 2. Puffy Blowhog. Slice this creature's feather-light skin into triangles, deep fry until crispy, and salt generously. Makes the perfect scooping chip to accompany fresh mango salsa. Puffy Blowhog. Sus inflata. I don't know, this guy's looking kinda sus too. Blowhog family. This species of blowhog uses internally generated hydrogen to inflate a flotation bladder and hover above the ground. The creature's electrified pulse creates a sash of color that flows along the surface of its body, making it a particularly beautiful blowhog species. Precisely how it is able to internally stabilize its highly explosive hydrogen and simultaneously generate electricity remains a mystery. Yeah, it's weird. They say that it generates electricity, but I don't think I've ever noticed that. I know that it like flashes in Pikmin 1 and 2 though. The puffy blowhog blows leaves and grass around to eat the insects underneath. It maintains midair buoyancy by using its fins and releasing air through blowholes. This enables it to float effortlessly, even in a breeze. In times of danger, the puffy blowhog could decompress its flotation bladder for a rapid escape from predators. Arachnode. Pluck off the legs, crack open, and savor the meat inside. Dip them in soy sauce first for a nice mix of sweet and salty. Arachnode. Clavophyctosphaera. Ar Arachnid family. Huh. Oddly, not the same as the Hey Pikmin spiders. This spider-like creature has distinctive yellow stripes on its black carapace. It spins webs in high-traffic areas and waits for prey to blunder into them. Unlike its relatives from the Arachnorb and Dweevil families, Dweevil family is not in this game. It's ambisexual and has 8 legs. Some theorize that its genealogy is meant to aid reproduction, though of course it cannot reproduce on its own. There is another theory that the species is in fact 2 organisms of opposing gender stuck together, but since no one has ever found a 4-legged single-sex specimen, this remains speculative. That's weird. So the Arachnorb family we'll be seeing later, but the Dweevil family was exclusive to Pikmin 2. Flighty Joustmite. Remove shell and roast over a low flame, then grind meat. Whisk paste into olive oil until emulsified. An extra dash of cumin lends some earthiness to this spicy salad dressing. Oh, Flighty Joustmite is salad dressing? Wow, they come up with so many different things for this. Flighty Joustmite. Tralobiden's reverse of Volenti, Burrownit family. It's a close relative of the original Burrownit species, but this variety of Joustmite still has the use of its wings. Oddly, it still makes its habitat below the ground and employs the same tactic of lying in wait before emerging to strike. The helmet protecting its head is functionally as hard as steel due to waxy secretions in its pores which absorb and redirect any shocks it sustains. Desiccated skitterleaf. No preparation needed to enjoy this flavorful beast. Its natural crunch gives it an intriguing mouthfeel. Desiccated skitterleaf. Mortifulia skitterling family. The skitterling variant that resembles dead leaves. Its legs have developed in specific ways. The front claws capture prey, while the flat hind legs are suited for running and swimming. Its highly tuned senses keep it still for any creature but Pikmin. Once it gets its claws on its prey, it doesn't even easily let go. Recent researchers have revealed that its camouflage has a second purpose beyond hunting. Scavengers are fooled by its disguise into carrying its eggs, thereby expanding the population. How do the how does scavengers carry the egg? I don't get it. Burrowing Snagget. Slice the serpentine torso into thin medallions. Skewer on a metal rod with hogatate onions and barbecue over an open flame. Burrowing Snagget. Chiropeides anacondae. Snavian family. The majority of Snaggart species lie in wait to ambush and capture prey, with the body type perfectly adapted to such sudden strikes. It violently attacks small surface-dwelling insects, distributed across a relatively wide range. Subspecies of Snaggart suited to varying conditions have emerged. To the varying soil conditions have emerged, making the Snaggart the most geographically represented species besides the bulbulb. Visually resembling the burrowing Snaggart is the burrowing Snarrow, the range of which partially overlaps with the Snaggart's range. While the two may appear similar, when pulled from their ground, they can be distinguished by the presence or absence of tail and wing markings. So here's the weird thing. The burrowing Snarrow, this is obviously also a log ripped from Pikmin 2. There has never been a burrowing Snarrow from Pikmin in the Pikmin series, but both the bio at the end of Pikmin 1 and the bio in the Piklopedia of Pikmin 2, and therefore this game, mention a burrowing Snarrow. But there has never been a burrowing Snarrow before. Scorn it. Roast over at a low fire until golden brown. Add a pinch of salt and set out as an appetizer or perhaps a simple aromatic centerpiece. Scorn it. Sporgitis, Sporgitis adventus, hunting pet family. These highly social insects always travel in groups. Each of them has their unique role in the colony. This type is a small, though still adult, worker female. Rather than lay eggs, they spend their lives carrying out the queen's will. In response to their queensonic commands, they move in unison as if they were a single entity. See them dance through the air is a sight to behold, but don't look too long. Their stingers are deadly. Yes, they are. Nectarous dandlefly. Tear the meat right off the belly and eat raw. The bitterness of the meat really highlights the sweetness of the nectar. Nectarous dandlefly. Anisopterid ambrosius. Dandlefly family. Its life cycle comes in two stages. First, it hatches underwater, where the amphibious larva preys on tadpoles and other small aquatic creatures. After it grows large enough, it takes to the surface and completely changes its diet. I need to sneeze. Okay, I have sneezed. And completely changes its diet to focus on plant nectar. The more nectar it feeds on, the more segments from its form on its abdomen. Upon reaching 5 segments, it is a mature adult ready for procreation. Its straw-like proboscis curls upward to prevent reflux from the nectar it stores. Yuck. Scorn up my astro. Slice thin, fry until golden brown, and serve when cool. Sprinkle the crumbs on top of a creamy clam chowder to give it a little kick. Scorn up my astro. Sporgitis advenus, hunted pet family. Known for its strikingly lyriform mouth, it does not settle at a particular nest, but migrates across the waters in search of food. In the spring, the maestro awakens from its hibernation. Before the advent of summer, she travels with a male partner to the cool climate of the mainland, where food is plentiful. The male is smaller than the maestro, with a white body and blue feet, back and tendrils. It has no wings and thus cannot fly. Where do you see that? There is no male scornet maestro. The maestro secretes a pheromone to control workers to carry out its commands, which it issues via complex musical cues. When the maestros know more, the listless and directionless workers perish along with the rest of the colony. Yeah, that's kind of weird. They just kind of randomly die when their leader die. Sputtlefish. Drain ink and reduce over stovetop until thick and aromatic. Add meat. Simmer in the ink sauce until tender. So good you'll have to go back for seconds. Sputtlefish. Oh gosh, is the long word. Pseudocephalopoda fluorescens. Squidlet family. Achieving a translucent look without iridophores and featuring 2 tentacles instead of 10 are the signature characteristics of the squidlet family. Its radial fins, resembling the petals of a flower, lended a certain beauty as it swims, making a popular ornamental pet. It can heal light and it can heal light abrasions and cuts via photosynthesis through its symbiosis with Zooxanthella. So if you engage it, be sure to finish the job. Gotta kill the zoo whatever. Puckering Blinnow. Slice raw and serve as sashimi. The marbled fat gives this dish a deep umami flavor. Puckering Blinnow. Nar Narolo Narrolingus piscatum, ellipse family. Many assume it's undeveloped due to its large eyes and lack of fins, but this is simply its normal fully grown form. Though its dorsal and ventral fins have atrophied, the long caudal fin helps to compensate for this. It can leap high enough out of water to catch low-flying prey. The scales comprising the round patches along the sides are known to turn pink during breeding season. Wow, he's done a lot of field research. Wattlepus. Perfect for make-ahead meals. Marinate the boiled meat in balsamic vinegar and chill for a few hours. The longer you let it sit, the richer the flavor. Wattlepus. Opistothidae Iasiobola Flobler family. Its eyes and stubby feet make it look like an octopus, hence the name. But it's closer in anatomy to a starfish. It is nocturnal and sleeps by day, but stays alert for approaching predators, which it drives off by puffing itself and releasing bubbles. Closer research suggests that the true purpose for the bubbles is to protect its eggs during spawning season. I might need to sneeze again. Alright, that's over with. Black Cromat, when grilled, serves as an excellent filling for an offbeat po' boy. If you have any left over, add it to a liver paste to deepen the flavor. Bull-eyed Crawmad, Cramabarus subterranid, Crawmad family. Like its close cousin to the hermit crawmad, it makes its home in a burrow rather than a shell. It has abnormally underdeveloped eyes with which to detect prey in cloudy water or low visibility mud. These enormous eyes can perceive circular polarized light, as well as the ultraviolet and infrared spectrum. It is well it is well protected from predators, allowing it to live for upwards of 50 years and grow to an immense size by repeated ecdodus. And the next would be Hermit Crawmad. Shuck, shuck from it, shuck from the shell, bake on high, and heat until crispy, then dip in a pot of melted milk chocolate. Lips smacking sweet. Hermit Crawmad, Camabirus rustica, Crawmad family. Looking at the eyes and sickle-shaped legs, characteristics of squillas, this one would think this is a squilla relative. In fact, it is a relative of the hermit crab. This species, whoops, I was looking, yeah, crawmad, not hermit crab. This species, however, has migrated from seaside life in a shell and instead inhabits burrows in the ground, sometimes in the water, as you can see. While its legs appear sickle-like, they are pincers that oh my gosh. They are pincers it uses to snap at its prey. It prefers to feed on small creatures that pass by its lair, dragging them inside to eat. Quaggled Myoclops, a fruit so sweet it could be a dessert unto itself. Remove and discard peel and core. Slice fruit into small pieces and enjoy. So yeah, that large thing is like a fruit to everyone. Quaggled Myoclops, Trestrapod gigahetum, Myoclops family. A rule of thumb is that the larger a creature is, the more it must consume to support its body weight. The Quaggled Myoclops is no exception. That is so weird. Why don't you capitalize the name? It uses its legs to drain its environs of nutrients to the point that puncturing it could improve the entire surrounding area's ecosystem. It also catches small insects using a hidden tongue in the wide mouth found all about its circumference. What prey it manages to catch, it dissolves to their base compounds, such as nitrogen, phosphoric acid, and potassium. Its insides are fertile ground for a wide variety of plants, including the Sleeping Beauty and dusty mushrooms. I don't think those are even Pikmin 2. Some theorize that the fruit-like growth atop its main body is in itself a parasitic species living off the nutrients it drains from the microcosm's enormous body. I mean, it does just look like a chunk of land. Calcified crushed blat. This beast's bouncy texture is addictive, but it can be a choking hazard if overcooked. Saute and drizzle with brown butter to dry out the nutty undertones. Calcified crushblat, Durotesta longuscus, crushblat family. Originally, these creatures were water-based mollusks. The hard shells let them live on land by keeping its soft flesh from being exposed to predators. It absorbs nutrients from the water through its skin, which is a relatively inefficient way of feeding compared to hunting. As a result, it spends most of its time sedentary due to its low metabolism. The crystal shell on its back is made of silica that it absorbs. The shells shed by younger crushblats find use as projectiles used by Scudderchucks. Okay, we're getting to the new ones soon. That was the wrong way, I think. Really? That's your thing? Caution, do not eat shaggy longlegs. Pseudoarachnia capillum, arachnid family. Thick hairs grow on its spherical center as well as its joints. One would think that it's there for protection, but it's a simple matter to pluck the hairs out. Several coloration variants have been cited, most likely due to regional characteristics rather than stress or advanced age. They normally sit docile above trees, but will descend to scare off intruders with loud footfalls. Baldy longlegs, not as tasty as it looks. Completely inedible. Baldy longlegs, Pseudoarachnia calvitium, arachnid family. Technically, this is merely a shaggy longlegs that has lost its hair. But since the hair never grows back, this is considered a separate species and classified under its own name. It has similarities to the beady longlegs, which is from Pikmin 1 and 2, but it doesn't secrete wax from its exoskeleton and thus lacks its cousin's unique patterning. The absence of wax also allows small insects to climb its legs without slipping. Its central orb splits horizontally, but researchers have yet to determine the significance of this difference. Toady Boister. This is the start of the new ones, but I think if I remember correctly, we read some of these. Oh well, just in case, I think I'm gonna read all of this. Actually, I'm not sure if we did. Toady Boister. Structural flaw, tail bulb. Weight 3. Problem. Sending in Pikmin causes it to spew ink to confuse its attackers. Amidst the chaos, it sends out its set of stretchy tongues to pick off prey. Solution: ignore the ink. It's not toxic and can't hurt you. Stay calm, exploit slow speed to get it behind it, and focus your strikes at its puffy tail bulb. Other notes: its optic receptors are highly tiny. How can it see anything? I'm positive their tails are a kind of fruit. I tried once to take it away from the Pikmin and have it analyzed instead of converted to seeds, but have it analyzed instead of converted. Oh, I guess Pikmin seeds. But Alf talked me out of it. He said not everything that looks like fruit tastes good, and he might have a point. It might look, it might look like, it might not look like much on the face of it, but that's because its deadliest weapons are hidden. I've seen its tongue do things I can never unsee. The ink sprayed everywhere to blind me was practically a mercy. Fancier with herbs and oil until lightly crusted on the outside and rosy on the inside. Complement the savory flavors with a light and buttery cream sauce. Toady Blaster. Molluskid Minionicus. Mollusking family. This species of creature has yet to fully evolve from shelled mollusk to the more advanced boister. Compared to the boister, this creature is substantially smaller. The fact that its mandibles do not protrude as significantly as the ranging boister is due in part to the fact that, like most mollusks, its vital organs are located deep within the creature's carapace. The flower-like appendage on its back is actually a gill. It prefers a watery habitat from which it can capture unsuspecting small prey with its sticky tendrils. Once again, another log from Pikmin 2. Ranging Boister was a boss in that game. Skeeter Skate. Structural flaw, weak hide. Weight 2. The genius of this design is that it uses its habitat of water to fuel its spout attack. It can spray 3 times on one tank. Oh, I always thought it was 2. Top marks for efficiency. The most glaring downside is that it can't move while it's refueling. You'd think someone would have realized what a golden opportunity that presents to attack. What are you saying? Mostly when what this thing does is suck up water and spit it out to attack. I completely hate it. It keeps getting in the way of collecting fruit. I need that fruit now. It's not like I asked anyone to wash it for me first. Ugh. I've been watching this one, and I have a little theory about how it skates on water without sinking. Ready for this? It's so busy getting from place to place that it doesn't have time to sink. Wow, that was lame. The extremities cannot be used for food, but you can drink the liquid inside for stimulating appetite. Why can you not use the body for food? Skate. Geridus clavomacula, Spittispatta family. It skates on water at high speed thanks to tiny hairs on the tips of its feet. So not whatever you said, Charlie. These hairs are coated in an ultra-hydrophobic substance to minimize friction against the water's surface. Its long proboscis functions as a straw to take in water, which is stored in a reservoir on its head, as well as to spout it as a weapon against small insects. When taking in water, it also takes in microscopic plankton, meaning that its prime means of defense is also a feeding mechanism. Alright, how much more do we have? Oh boy. Water Dumple. Structural flaw, low speed. Not the weak height, it's the low speed here. Weight 5. Its eyes have been deprecated, so it relies on smell to find prey that it can slowly swallow with its huge mouth. It's slow enough to make getting around it for rear assault a simple job, assuming you can tell it's rear from its front. I love dumplings, but the serving size here is too big even for me. But skin looks too tough and rubbery for me to dig into. Pass. Well, you could always go to Louis. That stunt where its watery stripes blend into its environment, making it almost invisible, won't work on me. You don't get to be an old hand at missions without seeing through cheap tricks like, hey, where'd it go? Deep fried dumplings without batter for all of the flavor with half the fat. Wow, who knew you cared about nutrition, Louis? Water dumple. Ichthyosaurus felinus, grub dog family. A resident of freshwater pools and marshes, this aquatic creature regularly feeds on insects that land on the surface of the water. It shares a nearly identical skeletal structure with its close relative and terrestrial cousin, the bulborb. This may offer clues to its evolutionary origin and suggest that it only recently immigrated to an aquatic habitat. Spotty bull bear. Oddly enough, cannot normally be found there. I'm pretty sure that's taken from a side story. Structural flaw, eyeballs back. Weight 12. It's sort of like the rare limited edition version of regular bulborbs. I'm much too afraid to get close to them in dark caves where they live, so I'm thinking about being a bomb rock next time. Couldn't hurt. That's a strange tip, because the only place you can find the bull bear is in the same cave where you find the bomb rocks. The red on black thing is very bold, but it's a vicious predator, so points off for that. It's big and tough and never backs down. Down, even when it probably should. Like some captains I can name. The first problem with this guy is that he never sleeps. The second problem is that you can go up a whole platoon of Pikmin in one move. Well, not on my watch, Buster. I'll make you wash down that meal with a dessert of pain. Well, at least they don't, revive like in Pikmin 2. There are two enemies that could revive themselves in Pikmin 2. The Bull Bear and the Gatling Groink, which is not in this game, thankfully. For an unrivaled green curry, peel away the spotty bull bear's skin, pulverize the juicy innards, and stew until curiously fragrant. Ugh, I can never get why you like eating these things. Spotty bull bear, Oculus terribilis doticum, grub dog family. A mid-sized subspecies within the grub dog family, the spotty bull bear's unique feeding habits set it apart from other grub dogs. The spotty bull bear patrols a set path for searching prey, instead of passively feeding on creatures that wander into unlimited territorial range. When entering the bull bear habitat, it is wise to proceed with extreme caution until the bull bear's patrol path can be clearly identified. Yes. Watery blowhog. Structural flaw, inhaling period. Weight 5. Holding large amounts of water inside itself isn't as eyebrow-raising as spewing fire, but I consider this to be a better design overall. Water is more easily and safely stored than flammable gas, and it has other uses other than attacking. Despite this difference, it's vulnerable to the same trick, having the right type of Pikmin. Yeah, not red Pikmin like they're showing in the demonstration. Alf tried to convince me that this animal has all kinds of uses. It could be used as a shower, he said, or a spaceship washer, an emergency fire control system. I told him we had all these things already, and it was like somebody rained on his parade. Haha, I get it. The water this one spews isn't too bad if you ask me, but the Pikmin don't do so well in it. At least most of them don't. That's what a captain is there for, to be an umbrella to the downtrodden. Although I think you still take damage from him. This beast's unrivaled moistness gives it a melt-in-the-mouth quality that's incomparable. Watery blowhog, sus Luiginoids. Once again, kinda sus. Blowhog family. A variant subspecies of the fiery blowhog, the watery blowhog lacks several of the dominant genes necessary for the production of fire-producing catalysts and thus expels jets of the non-flammable liquid. This subspecies appears to have only recently evolved. However, the hereditary traits of this variant are dominant and highly robust, so its population is rapidly increasing. Shearwig. Structural flaw? Soft hide. Where's that? Weight 1. It seems odd for a flying creature to make its home underground, but that's what these insects do. When they sense motion, they surface and take to the air immediately, then attack from above. That's gotta be somewhere in the Formidable Oak, but I don't know where in the Formidable Oak that is. Or I guess it could be, I don't know. It doesn't look like it can fly, possibly because it spends all its time under the earth. Maybe all it needs is to cut back on its diet and exercise more. Wait, what am I saying? I can't ask it to do something I wouldn't. That's why you're so weak. Oh, a flying bug! I'll send some flying Pikmin after it. Rookie mistake. I can see why you think that, but the best Pikmin for the job is a rock Pikmin. These bugs are so lightly armored that one hit can take them out. I could even use my steely fist, but that would just be overkill. Yeah, sure. Grate this beast into a zest and whisk with sugar, cream, and chopped dark chocolate for a lusciously indulgent mousse. That's a true culinary coup de grace. Ugh, grating a creature like that? Ugh, Shearwig. Hemiagia valaris. Mandibrod family. Unusual for their genus, flying mandibrods have retained their wings. However, only the adult males of this species can fly. Females of this species spend most of their lifespan underground. I dropped my Joy-Con. They do emerge for a period after maturation to spawn, but they never metamorphose. Maturation. I'd assume that's how that's pronounced. Plasm Wraith. Structural flaw varies. Weight unknown. What a marvel this creature is, constantly adapting to new threats. It can manipulate fire, water, electricity, and its own body to form wings or an armored carapace. I mean, yeah, I guess that would be how they explain the crystal thing, but it doesn't really put the crystal thing around itself. It takes several squads of Pikmin on frequently rotating duty to keep up with its shifting nature. How I wish I could construct anything so effortlessly flexible. Its attacks leave behind little pieces of itself, so you can eliminate those before it reforms. So if you can eliminate those before it reforms, you can wear it down little by little. Oh wait, whoops, wrong button. Wow, it really did not want to let go of Captain Olimar. Is that budding interspecies romance I smell? Anyway, I bet that gunk would make for some good lotion. Should have bottled some up so I could sell it back on Kopai. I will never understand you. This thing doesn't know what it wants. 1 minute it's soft, 1 minute it's hard. First it's big, then it's small. It hunts Olimar but doesn't want to hurt him. We're practically doing it a favor by taking it out. Anyway, that Olimar guy must ooze charisma to get such an alien creature to follow him anywhere. He's a ship captain and I'm just a squad captain, but that still gives us something in common. I ought to be taking notes. Yeah, you're not the captain of this. So, I think the thing is like, Alf owns the ship, right? And Charlie's just the captain of this squad. Despite its refreshing citrus scent, the flavor of this beast is decidedly dangerous. Makes for a good lotion, though. Plasm Wraith. Unknown species, unknown family. This is an unusual life form. Consists of an amor amorphous body around a hard cubic core. The body can shift not only into different shapes, but also into different substances. It reminds me very much of the water wraith, and at first I wondered if it was also an ectoplasmic incarnation. However, enough others have seen and encountered it to dispel this theory. What? Who else is encountering this and dispelling your theory, Alamar? What? The creatures living near the plasm wraith must be formed from its gelatinous substance, since they all liquefy upon its death. It's not clear what purpose they serve for the wraith. It's clearly unknown what caused the hole in its torso, some sort of manifested psychic wound, but the search for this cause may lead us down the path to unraveling the history of evolution on this planet. Yeah, but seriously, Alamar, how did anyone dispel this theory? Did Charlie or Birdity or Alf dispel this theory, dude? I'm not sure. Also, he mentions the Water Wraith. Once again, Pikmin 2. Hope they remake that game. Swooping Snitch Bug. Structural flaw, weak hide. Weight 3. It's well built to do what it does, which is to capture wandering Pikmin and slam them into the ground. But why does it do that? Form without function isn't very good design in my book. I like to turn the tables and load them down with so many Pikmin they're too heavy to fly. What goes around comes around. They're annoying, but I also feel a connection to these huge flying insects. Just like me, they like to bury things in the ground. And just like me, they wander off, forgetting about the seed until someone else comes along to harvest it. Oh wow, that was somewhat insightful. I could go into my strategies for taking these things, but why bother? They're nuisances, not threats. Plucking buried Pikmin is a relaxing activity that gives me time to consider how to tackle critters that can do serious damage. Ha! Take that! Even though they could pick me up. Ha! Take that! Remove the wings, marinate a well-marbled steak for several hours in a chipotle marinade, then charbroil to perfection. Swooping snitchbug. Scarpanicus casperines. Scarpanid family. The Scarpanids originally lived on the ground, sporting poorly developed vestigial wings. This species developed enlarged antennae that could be used as makeshift wings. Scarpanids are attracted by the sight of large groups of Pikmin and cavalry in formation and will swoop down to seize them. Other Scarpanids do not eat Pikmin, and they will drop any seized Pikmin after a short time. The reason for this behavior is unknown, but I look forward to future research in the area. Okay, Alamar, how could you possibly know of its relatives? We don't encounter any ground Scarpanids. At least I don't think we do. Wogpole. Structural flaw, weak hide. Weight 1. Where the heck is this thing in the Garden of Hope? Oh, maybe in the pools by the base. It's built for one thing, swimming. Built for one thing, swimming. On everything else, from engaging predators to environmental awareness, it kind of falls apart. You know the saying it's more afraid of you than you are of it? I did just these again. You know the saying, it's more afraid of you than you are of it? This is the only thing on the planet where that feels true. So think about getting close to this creature at all. It feels like cruelty to animals. Yeah, but when they grow up, you don't want to deal with them. Strange how such a scrawny pushover grows up to flatten Pikmin left and right. Then again, maybe it remembers being helpless and holds a grudge. See, he gets it. Wogpoles can be eaten raw, but they're much more flavorful when creamed or stilled, sure. Also heavenly in risotto. Feel free to experiment with this lush ingredient. Wogpole, Amphicarus frodendum, Amphituba family. The wollywog spawns in early spring, laying its eggs on low-hanging tree branches and shrubs growing in or near lakes and ponds. Such unorthodox amphibious behavior is a defense mechanism, protecting the eggs from predation by blue Pikmin and water temples. But blue Pikmin don't eat, do they? I mean, I guess they could take the eggs back to the onion, but the Wollywogs wild hopping near the shoreline in early spring is thought to be a method of driving predators away from the wogpole eggs. Huh, so that's thinking about like the Wollywogs, wherever you encounter a Wollywog, there's probably wogpole eggs somewhere. Arctic cannon larva. Okay, so it is the larva. For some reason I thought it was just called Arctic cannon beetle. Structural flaw, weak hide, weight 7. The snowballs are an ingeniously non-lethal weapon. I'm in love with a design that effectively keeps the predators away without overdoing it. Full marks. When I saw this one sitting snowballs and setting picking Pikmin rolling, I thought it looked like a good time. So I walked right into its line of fire, waved my arms to catch its attention, and waited for the fun to start. But all I got was dizzy. They're more annoying than dangerous, but if you want to avoid the pushback from the rolling snowballs, it's just a matter of fancy footwork. Remember to do your warm-up exercises first. You wouldn't want to get a Charlie horse. Ha! Do they have horses on their planets? I'm not sure. Peel back the shell and sprinkle the tender meat with a dash of salt before slurping it raw. For a refreshing dessert, pour fruit juice over its snowballs. So, okay, where's there a shell on it, though? Arctic cannon larva, Granitus frostitum, lithopod family. Like other members of the lithopod family, its internal bacteria are specialized to form ice compounds from ambient moisture, which it then expels as projectiles. It technically doesn't rely on cold temperatures to create this ice, which is formed by pressurized internal fluids that act as a coolant. When the projectiles rapidly expand, they absorb ambient heat, lowering the air temperature enough for the moisture in the air to freeze. Huh. Structural flaw? Fosbat pod. For some reason this is a separate entry. Structural flaw? Height sensitivity. Weight unknown. I have so many questions. Where does it get the resources to manufacture all the tiny models? And why does light cause it to stop working? I've heard of solar-powered machines, but this one seems to be solar-powerless. Maybe. Try to break the egg, and the adult Fosbat will come screeching right for you. As ugly and mean as it is, it does care about its little ones, so you can't call it all bad. The downside of these things is that they never stop pumping it out nasty critters, but the upside is that if you stand next to one long enough, you can get some good combat training in. I take one home to generate sparring partners, but they stop working as soon as their light hits them. You can slurp up this beast's eggs right from the shell. With a sweet and velvety texture, they melt in your mouth. Fosbat sack. Uh-oh, we have conflicting names. Tectupervis terrorimus, Aerodentia family. The behemoth fosbat's egg sacs are found affixed in surfaces around its layer. Each sac spawns roughly 5 baby fosbats, stopping when enough pheromones are in the air to trigger its automatic response. This keeps the population density of fosbats in any given cave at a sustainable level, which is important given the limited supply of food in its habitat. That's interesting, an inconsistency where it's called the Fosbat Pod, but Olimar calls it the Fosbat Sack. Dwarf Bullbear. Structural flaw, back. Weight 3. The behavior around the spotty bullbear reminds me of satellites orbiting a larger body. Like satellites, they exist in darkness and are hard to see, but can be destroyed with a well-placed strike. If it's with the larger body, though, stay away. You don't want to get pulled into its gravity. This metaphor is getting away from me. It takes after the big guys in a lot of ways. They're not as brave though. Walk up to one and they'll just watch it run to get help. I'd laugh at it, but I'm usually running away by then myself. I'll admit these creatures have a certain charm. I'd like to stuff one and keep it as a trophy in my office, but I'd have to pry it from the Pikmin's eager hands first, and I don't want to do that. Remove innards, stuff with sage, and finally aged prosciutto, prosciutto, and broil until golden brown. The ultimate crowd pleasers. Dwarf bullbear, Oculus terribilis. So you're saying it can't see? Grubdog family. A grubdog larva in its third stage of development. This creature's body structure is nearing maturation. However, unlike mature bullbears, it has yet to claim its own patrol route and thus is dependent upon its parent for guarding direction. So unlike the other dwarf things, this is, the dwarf bullbear is actually a bullbear, not like the dwarf bulborb. Yellow spectralid, structural flaw, weak hide, weight 1. Its only defense mechanism is its swift, erratic flight. If you can catch it when it's stationary, it's easy to take down, but there's no point unless you're desperate for nectar. You can always find eggs in this remake. If the color yellow could fly, it would be this animal. It's so thin and papery that there's hardly anything to it apart from color. I think I'd like to fly, but maybe not if I had to give up all my substance. This one's okay, as the wildlife on this planet goes. It's a nice shade of yellow, but not as perfect as the color of my rubber ducky. For a tasty appetizer, dip wings into a batter and fry. It can also be used to season stews and soups. Remember to first remove its bitter innards. Yellow spectralids, Venestari Genoprismatis, Flutterbee family. The primary morphological difference from other spectralids is the eye-like spot on its hind wings. When crossbred with red spectralids, the oxwing has a 25% chance of inheriting those spots on orange-colored wings. Would this count as a new subspecies? Who knows. Red spectralids. Structural flaw, weak hide, weight 1. There must be a reason for the color variation between the various models of this creature, but I haven't yet figured out what it is. This one is probably my favorite, though. Can't go wrong with red, which is why my color is blue. One of these red beauties flew real close to me once when I was standing still. I took that to mean I smell as sweet as a flower. It's funny how the ultra spicy nectar it carries doesn't seem to make it any more excitable than the rest of its kind. Maybe just better at keeping it together. Though red is universally recognized as a symbol of danger, these creatures couldn't hurt a fly. A shame too, because there are plenty of monster flies on this planet that could use some hurting. Yep. Also, I believe this is a mission mode level that they're showing there. That's pretty good grouping right there. Oh, no, never mind. Spread larvae on a slice of toast for a toothsome and protein-packed breakfast. Or fry up the wings at any time of day for a crunchy snack. Red spectralids, Fenestrati russoprismatis, Flutterbee family. Its red wings have several spots, unlike the lone spot in each wing of the yellow variety. Its scales contain trace amounts of ultra-spicy flakes, which are mixed into its saliva as it sucks up the nectar from flowers. The combined flakes, saliva, and nectar are refined into ultra-spicy nectar inside the creature, which is uses as a growth supplement for its eggs. Despite this, its reproductive capabilities are quite low. It is for this reason that the red variant fetches astronomical prices among collectors. Yellow Wollywog. Structural flaw, weak hide, weight 5, although I think it used to be 7 in Pikmin 1 and 2. There are definite signs of intelligence in this brute. It always faces its prey first, as if to gauge the distance before jumping in the air to stomp. If you don't move while it hangs for a moment in midair, you could lose a lot of Pikmin. It's big, but not strong, as few by Pikmin can weigh it down, so it can't jump. While Pikmin also have nothing to fear from it. Look at that thing. It's so bloated. I feel that way. I feel that way sometimes. I feel that way too sometimes when I can't stop chugging down juice. I have to lie down for a while after that, but this thing just keeps jumping. I bet it gets the worst cramps. I don't understand how it manages to hang in the air at the height of its jumps, but I don't have to understand. I just have to get out of the way, and its weird hang time helps a lot with that. Let that be a lesson. Don't stand around gawking at creatures' weird attack moves. Do something about it! Beer batter and deep fry for a down-home flavor you won't soon forget. Yellow Wollywog, Amphicarus frodendum, Amphituba family. This magnificent specimen has the brightest gold coloration and the greatest number of lateral spots of any member in the Amphituba family. This species seems to have lost some of the swimming proficiency with the evolutionary adaptation that granted a greater jumping ability. The Amphituba inhabits aquatic shallows and shows an instinctive drive to jump upon and squash smaller creatures. It's kind of a jerk. Armored Cannon Larva. Structural flaw, weak hide, weight 7. It's able to handle heavy rocks, so it's strong, and it has expert aim, so it's clever. If it were better armored, it would be unstoppable. Get it? Because there's, in Pikmin 1 and 1 only, by the way, there's an armored cannon beetle that's really hard to defeat. This thing eats rocks the way I eat fruit. Its stomach is always full, and it likes to spit out the seeds. It spews rocks as well as any heavy artillery I've ever seen. Since we didn't bring any heavy artillery with us, I'd love to use this thing as a substitute. The trick will be figuring out how to lure our enemies into its line of fire. That's a very advanced tip. In certain missions, like I think ToadRules in one of the missions actually, you can use the rocks that it spits out to attack other enemies. Carefully remove every grain of sand, peel back the exoskeleton, and slurp heartily. Or deep fry it too. Armored Cannon Lava, Granitus Chuculine, the Lithopod family. This specimen is a lithopod lava. This expedition was unable to confirm the existence of any mature lithopods, leading to concerns that the species was extinct on this planet, but the discovery of the creature in lava form eased such concerns. Lithopods, like flint beetles, use internal metabacteria to aid chemical digestion. These metabacteria can only survive in certain environments, such as within the body of certain insects, so the lithopod larvae do not contain any metabacteria immediately after hatching. Larvae fed on particular on partially digested one. Larvae fed on, oh, they feed on partially digested ore regurgitated by mature lithopods, ensuring the larvae only obtain metabacteria they would not normally have acquired. Scutterchuck. Structural flaw, back. Weight 3. It carries a heavy crystal on its back to throw at enemies, and I knew going in that we would probably need rock Pikmin to break it. I worried that doing so would cause dangerous shards to explode outward, but fortunately my imagination proved to be deadlier than reality. A missed design opportunity, if you ask me. All that strength, and the best it can do with it is carry around big crystals. But idea would be carrying my stuff. If I could say, wait, it would throw all my stuff over, wouldn't it? Never mind. They're like walking catapults the way they hoist those crystals and launch them as if they were mere pebbles. A crafty adversary might lure them into launching the stones at each other or themselves. An adversary like me. An acquired taste, but really quite addictive once you get used to it. No special preparation necessary. You don't even need to cook it? That sounds dangerous. Scutterchuck. Aero Desiderate Crystallosum. Hevo family. Oh, there's a member of the Hevo family in Hey Pikmin. Its main offensive strategy is to launch the crystal it carries on its back. Otherwise, it's completely defenseless. In most circumstances, it's a peaceful herbivore whose diet consists primarily of moss. When in danger, however, it wastes no time defending its territory by breaking small rocks and hurling them at the threat. In order to ensure it has a steady supply of rocks with which to defend itself, it shares its habitat with calcified crushbrat larvae, so it can make use of the shells they cast off each night. Peckish Aristocrab. Structural flaw, weak hide. Weight 8. It had the right idea, coating its enormous claws in a crystal shell, but we have rock Pikmin for that. Once you break the claw, it's not so bad. You have to be careful not to drown, though, since you usually can't meet one. You don't usually meet one near water, except that one time in the forest, no, not, Garden of Hope. It's got extensible legs to thwart a Pikmin charge, so I find the throwing Pikmin is more effective. That also works for freeing anyone trapped in one of its bubbles. There's something so familiar about this thing. Oh, it was the Hooktation onion I studied in my research days. Now that was a dangerous plant. One had a little incision and I couldn't stop crying for hours. Everybody knows that that rock is supposed to defeat scissors. So how come my steely fist don't do anything against this thing's claws? Sure, it barfed up a few bubbles when I hit it, but all that accomplished was trapping me inside. Great for hot pot. Remove the shell and cook legs in the hot broth. When they turn nice and red, pull them out and slather in liver paste before eating. Turkish Aristocrab. Brachyureces Issurio onion shell family. Its unnaturally large claws used for catching prey, for self-defense, and most surprisingly for its mating call. Most aspects of the crab's life revolve around it, which may explain why the crab becomes fearful and docile when the claw is damaged. It would also account for the claw's remarkable regenerative capabilities, which can restore it completely in a single night. It is also known to blow bubbles when under attack, but this is a result of it venting from the wrong discharge valve when under extreme stress. So it's just barfs bubbles on accident. Male sheargrub. Structural flaw, back. Weight 1. Those jaws are stronger than you'd expect. I haven't seen anything that can grip like that outside of factory robots. Fortunately, its back isn't so tough. If you can land a few Pikmin onto it from above, it'll go down in no time. I don't get these creatures. They have a good thing going underground, where it's dark and quiet. Why can't they snooze the days away instead of making trouble for us? It's true, these things always seem to get a Pikmin or two. These nasties are the #1 reason I keep my whistle handy at all times. You've got to have a quick whistle finger to lead your squad to safety when you feel the ground start to rumble beneath your feet. Keep a close eye on any Pikmin with their hands full. These critters like to go after those. Now I sound like Olimar. Spread several specimens in the bottom of a casserole dish and layer with sliced avocado. Bake until the meat is choice and the cheese. Ooh, excuse me. And the cheese is lusciously browned. Sheer grub male, Hymiagia mandibulosa, mandiblod family. This specimen is a male sheer grub. Having lost both legs and wings, the male burrows into the soil and waits to ambush small creatures that pass by. This beast's mandibles can be dangerous, making creatures such as Pikmin easy prey. Skitterleaf. Structural flaw, back. Weight, 1. It says Garden of Hope, but it can also be found in, like, one area in the tropical wilds. I'm in love with this camouflage job. It looks like an ordinary leaf found from a tree, and then wham! It starts to move and takes you by surprise. We could learn a lot from the way it uses protective coloration to blend in with its surroundings. I'm thinking of redesigning our spacesuits, or maybe even the SS Drake's hull. Not only do its body and limbs look like leaves, its beady little eyes remind me of fruit. I don't see the point of all that camouflage when they startle at every single thing that comes close. It's totally harmless, but sometimes there is reason to defeat one. When that happens, the best we can do is be merciful and land one solid strike on its back. Poor thing. The superb amalgamation of juicy meat and leafy greens ensures that the skitterleaf will be the new spinach, even though it's an animal, kind of. Skitterleaf. Rust pseudo-arbicans. Skitterling family. The skitterleaf is a relative of the pond skater that shed its wings and that. Oh, I guess that makes sense. That shed its wings and adapted to life on the ground, with no residual traits of the airborne. Of its airborne past, the skitterleaf could neither fly nor skid across the surface of the water. The wings have since evolved into the leaf-like structure on its back, which serves to hide the skitterleaf through mimicry. It appears quite effective, as few predators could see through this clever disguise. Orange bulborb. Structural flaw, eyeballs back. It's located in the Twilight River, but there's also one in the tropical wilds. Weight 10. I appreciate the warning coloration to let us know it's more dangerous than the other models. Anything that risky is best approached with a bomb rock while it sleeps. Yeah, orange bulborbs are definitely a lot more difficult to take on. It's lavishly colored and so anxiety-ridden that a few footsteps could wake it up instantly. Kinda like me. It's also a terror when it's awake, which again, same. Those bulging eyes are honed for battle, with no known blind spots. We often find them asleep, but they wake up as soon as we get close. For all we know, they're only pretending to sleep to lull us into a false sense of security. Still, sometimes that 1 second where they're waking up is all we need to go in hard. This bulbor's meaty flanks make for salaciously savory steaks that shouldn't be missed. Orange bulborb, Oculus Kageyami orangium, grub dog family. This bulborb species boasts a garish color pattern with deep orange body and black spots. The orange bulborb's yellow bloodshot eyes make it clear that this bulborb is excessively edgy and high-strung, making it much easier to wake from deep sleep than any other species in the grub dog family. And I believe this is the last one, the iridescent flint beetle. Structural flaw, back. Weight, unknown. That is weird. There, it says its main habitat is in the Twilight River, but that's definitely the Garden of Hope. It's almost like they were like originally intending to put it looks like they were originally intending to put a iridescent flint beetle there. Structural flaw, back. Weight, unknown. It reminds me a bit of prize dispensing machines. Only instead of putting in coins, you throw Pikmin in. Instead of toys, you get pellets and nectar. And also, you don't lose the Pikmin that you throw in. The pop quiz of indigenous creatures. You might think you're ready for it, but when the time comes, you're probably not. There's no penalty for failure, except missing out on neat rewards, which is basically torture. Finding one of these critters means it's your lucky day. If you manage to hit it with Pikmin, it'll drop pellets and nectar. All you have to do is wait for it to stop and then press the attack. An essential flavor accentuating ingredient in gumbo and jambalaya. Also delicious in soups, broths, and marinades. Hey, how did you get your hands on one of these things? As you can see in the demonstration, it disappears. Iridescent flint beetle. Philly and Envelopens striaticus. Flint beetle family. Flint beetles are nocturnal, choosing to hide in the grass by day and stay active at night. These creatures keep undigested food pellets in their stomachs to sustain them through winter, but given the right stimulus, they will spit them out. Recent research has revealed that these pellets are enveloped in a membrane that seals and preserves them in a sterile, airtight environment. If kept at room temperature, it seems that this pellet membrane will keep its contents fresh for up to 6 months. The membrane may be made from the same substance that gives the exoskeleton of the flint beetle its beautiful sheen. This specimen is a subspecies of the previously documented species, recognizable by the variant pattern on its back. And I believe that is every Piklopedia entry. While we're here, every single fruit also has their own entry. I guess I could do all 30 of these while I'm here. Sunseed berry. As a scientist and as a food eater, I am excited about this new source of potential nutrition. I just wish it didn't look like it was covered in pimples. It's like delicious and Grump just had a baby. Let's gather as many of these as we can. Face wrinkler. This fruit is so sour that one bite makes my whole face want to climb into my mouth and pull it back out. It's so high in Pikmin U though, so I guess I'll try adding small amounts of the juice to other foods. Better food. Cupid's grenade. Yes! The people of Kopai will be thrilled that we found this sweet, entirely delicious food source. They'll adore us forever when we introduce to them this weapon of mass nutrition. Instead of weapon of mass destruction. Velvety Dream Drop. The taste of this one takes me back to Auntie Bay's. I don't know. Famous fruit pastries. The pit's pretty big, so there's not a whole lot of juice in there. But maybe someday this pit will grow into a tree in Auntie Bay's backyard, and she can taste it for herself. Dawn Pustules. These little spheres have it all. Smooth skin, delicious juice, a nice smell. They're almost perfect, except that exact shade of green is like the captain's favorite color of all time. He painted his room, his fingernails, and I heard even his dog that color. Bleh. Dusk pustules. There's something very charming about all these little beads of juice. It makes me feel like we've never run out of fruit. The color reminds me of something. Oh, Auntie Bee's hair. She has such a rebellious streak. Citrus lump. Sweet and totally delicious. This one has quite a bit of Pikmin U. On closer analysis, the white fiber just inside the skin seems to have most of the nutrition, but it's not very tasty. I'll save it for the captain. Heroine sphere. This is my favorite so far. It's sweet in this kind of elegant way. Poor Alf can't touch it without getting itchy all over, and the captain's not refined enough to appreciate it. I'll have to make the sacrifice and eat it all myself. I'll season it with my tears. Zest Bomb. This one's sour, but smells really nice. I wonder if the juice would work as a deodorant. I also wonder if we could spare a little for the experiment. Finally, I wonder if the captain would notice if I doused him in it while his back was turned. Dapper Blob. There's something compelling about this shapeless fruit with its tiny hat. It's like the fruit is heading to a fancy party full of debonair berries and upscale squashes. As a botanist, I have to say that party sounds like the cutest thing that ever cuted. But we still got 20 more. Disguised delicacy. Ha! This fuzzy produce thought it could disguise itself as one of the native creatures, but I know the smell of Pikmin U anywhere. Take that, fruit. Pocked airhead. When we opened this one up, I was curious what we'd find in the funny head at the top of the fruit. Turns out nothing. So it's got a thick skin with a big head that doesn't have anything. That doesn't actually have anything inside. That's why I named it for the captain. Crimson Banquet. It's huge, super juicy, and filled with tons of seeds to take home and cultivate. How's this thing even real? Delectable bouquet. Bouquet. Crazy! We cut this open, it's filled with tiny white flowers, meaning it's not technically a fruit at all. Analysis also indicates that it won't be ripe very long before it starts to rot. I think I'll save this one for the captain. Lesser Mock Bottom. This fruit's flesh is soft and pale yellow. It's juicy and has a... I don't know, that flesh does not look pale yellow to me. It's juicy and has a sweet sour flavor. I must also note that it's shaped almost exactly like a baby's bottom. While the scientific merit of this observation is debatable, the adorability is not. Has anyone else ever found it weird that people think that those things are cute. Blonde imposter. Aha! This furry little fruit tried to hide itself under a veil of camouflage and fuzz, but I would be fooled. Tell me, Ms. Fauna, if you are indeed an animal and not vegetable, where are your legs? Checkmate, fruit. But there's plenty of creatures that don't have legs. Insect condo. That smell! I can't tear my nose away for that smell. I'd dive right in and start eating, but something about the name the computer supplied makes me just a touch suspicious about what's going on in that thing. Seed hive. This was a bit of an emotional roller coaster with us. We were lured in by its sweet scent, but when we cut it open, it was infested with huge insects. Al fainted, poor thing. Then I realized that the insects were seeds. Yay! Alpha wake up eventually. Portable sunset. Look at the colors. It reminds me of the time I melted all my crayons and tried to combine them together into a super crayon. I really thought that would work. Anyway, Alf doesn't like the smell of this fruit, but he doesn't have a sophisticated nose palate like I do. Tremendous sniffer. This specimen has a sweet flavor and a soft texture. Kind of like my Auntie Bee. The shape reminds me of her nose, too. So elegant. So glamorous. She's the envy of the family with that nose. Oh, I miss my aunt. I want to go home. Searing acid shock. Ah! Sour! So sour! I feel like my taste buds have been sucker punched. We can't afford to waste edible fruit, but this one will need to be pickled or something before anyone will willingly eat it. Plus, I'll never forget that face Elf made. Juicy gaggle. Finally, something on this planet that isn't gigantic. These little red globes are the perfect size for copiate hands, and the juice inside makes a good meal. I bet these will be a lunchbox favorite back home. Wow, you guys must have some pretty big lunchboxes. Fire-breathing feast. Even though it looks like one of the monstrous beasts that this planet has so many of, this fruit has a light flavor and tons of seeds. It'll be a great food source back home, if the people don't run away from it in terror. Dragon fruits do look pretty cool. Stellar extrusion. I must admit, when I saw this fruit's star-like shape, it seemed like destiny. 3 explorers going to the stars to find fruit and coming back with fruit that looks like stars. What could be more fitting? Then I tasted it and it was only okay. Kinda sour. Bummer. Astringent clump. A little sour, a little sweet, a little sour, but mostly bitter. Alf can't cope with the bitterness and wants me to sweeten it somehow, but I have to say it's growing on me. Maybe he'll mature into it? Wayward Moon, which is the heaviest fruit in the game, costing 20 Pikmin. Although I believe the watermelon here is listed as more, but that's because it's split up. The biggest one takes 15 Pikmin to carry. This is the heaviest single thing in the game, or in the story, which takes 20 Pikmin. Yeah, for some reason Pikmin 3 is a lot tamer with its weights. Like, in Pikmin 1, I believe the heaviest thing was like 50 Pikmin, and Pikmin 2 had some really expensive stuff because they fully utilized the purple Pikmin. Once you get past the tough cratered exterior, this fruit has a refined, almost delicate flavor. Kind of reminds me of the cat, except he's all exterior. Scaly custard. Huh. Looks like a reptile doing its best impression of pudding. Doesn't seem very fruit-like at all. Not much juice, not sweet, high fat content. Tasty, I guess, in an odd way. I just hope it wasn't a poisonous reptile. Mock bottom. Specimen is slightly fuzzy, has a high juice content, and has a hearty pit that should travel well back to Kopai. As a scientist, I cannot and should not remark that it all looks almost exactly like a bottom. Hehe. This specimen is slightly fuzzy. Yeah, she can't keep her mind off of that. Slapstick crescent. Oh my gosh, but this is delicious! So sweet and comforting. I can imagine a little kid just eating just gobs of this thing. They'll have to be careful around the inedible peel, though. It's extremely slippery and can be a safety hazard. Crunchy deluge. Lots of juice in here, like having your mouth flooded in sweetness. Not much Pikmin U, but nutrition isn't everything. Sometimes you just want the natural disaster flavor, you know? So what is this? It looks like an orange. That would mean it has tons of Pikmin U, right? Anyway, that is it for all of these logs. In this, we have collected all the exploration notes, all the fruit files, all the Piklopedia things. But there is something else that we can do. I originally wasn't going to do the murals, but I figured might as well while we're going over everything else here. Now this one isn't the most in-depth look at it. If you want to see a more in-depth look at where to find the murals, I can do one. What you gotta do is you gotta find them and then you gotta take a picture of it, as you can see, and then it'll show up, any picture you take will show up on the, like, when viewing the course, or when viewing the thing on land, you saw it. There are 3 per area, and there are 3 per Pikmin. 1 leaf, 1 bud, 1 flower. I believe it's red Pikmin in Tropical Wilds, rock Pikmin in... it's pretty much all in the area you find them, except for blue Pikmin, which are in Formidable Oak. And, this was also done on that separate file, and you also do still need it to end the day for it to count. And again, if you want me to go, like, more in-depth on where to find these murals, you can. But yeah, after these murals are done, though, that's going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to start taking on the mission mode. Until then, goodbye.